morning. It's the last day of July 2025. Crazy. I was thinking this morning when I was trying to get out of bed. If you had to ask anyone, this is a question where I think I know the answer that everyone would give. And if you ask them if you would like to be fit or not, everyone would say that they would want to be fit. I don't think there's a scenario or persona in which one would say that they don't want to be fit. Or at least I can't think of one. So if you can, let me know. So that means we have to go put our Batman shoes on and go for a run. Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, but it's technically Friday mindset because I've taken tomorrow off. I've got some special guests coming tomorrow, so that'll be fun. But today, I want to talk about something that I actually find quite interesting because I think it's a good thing, but I also think it's a bad thing. And it's been sitting in my brain a little bit, so I thought I'd put it out here. And that is the idea of this new technological drug, Ozempic. Ozempic. I'll play the clip here.
To get back in your type 2 diabetes zone, once weekly Ozempic can help.
Maybe I'll do a green screen later to show you exactly what it does. Hello! It's actually morning, but it's actually evening right now when I'm filming this. Future Bianca did come through with a little bit of a, let's keep this under a minute to try and understand what Ozempic or GLP-1 drugs are. So effectively, we got our human body, and then we've got these drugs. It's most known, like I said, Ozempic. Ozempic was for diabetes patients, with specifically diabetes 2. So actually worked in the pancreas. If you don't know how the body works, we have hormones that run through that are effectively our signals, and then we have receptors that pick up those signals and then enforce some sort of change or some other sort of feedback loop. So effectively, what happens is we have those hormones which are naturally generated, these GLP-1-like things. The one that's actually in Ozempic or Mounjaro or Wegovy is actually semaglutide, but it looks exactly the same, the hormone. And what happens is you inject yourself once a week, sorry. That hormone then goes to the body and runs through the body effectively. And there are three major places that it hits. The pancreas is the one for diabetes patients. That's to control insulin and all that kind of stuff. We're not going to go into that right now. Then you've got the stomach, which has receptors, and the brain. Now, in the stomach, what happens when it gets that kick of the GLP-1 or the semaglutide that we've injected in yourself? What it does is it signals the stomach to slow down the effectively clearing of the stomach. So they're not really digesting of the food because that happens in the intestine, but effectively the clearing of the stomach. So it sits in your stomach for longer, which means you feel fuller and you have less of an appetite to actually eat more. And then the same thing does it in the brain, in the hypothalamus, this section over here-ish. It signals the brain to be like, hey, I'm full, I'm not hungry, I don't need more food. And those two things effectively affect how people lose weight on these drugs, because the stomach says, I'm full, I don't have space for any more food. And the brain says, we're not hungry. So effectively, your body then starts digesting and doing all this other kind of stuff, fat and everything else, and you lose weight on these drugs. Hopefully that was a quick summary. I don't think it was a minute, but you'll forgive me. Like these GLP-1 drugs, a good example that's been, I don't know if you're on social media, like Ozempic or Mounjaro, and any celebrity that used to be like a little bit, I want to say fat, but I don't mean it in a bad way because we're actually talking about this. So if this is triggering for you, just leave, don't watch this video. But effectively someone that is overweight, that has lost a lot of weight quite quickly, you're like, oh my gosh, what happened there? Good job on them. They were probably on Ozempic or Mounjaro, or still on Ozempic and Mounjaro.
Ozempic, we know you didn't do that alone. Ozempic, it shows you were fat not that long ago.
want you down.
And what it does, it effectively suppresses your appetite. So you eat less, which means that you lose weight. Now, if you get off the drug, your weight just being put back on again. But I want to talk about this new era where these drugs are going to be alive and well, and people are going to take them, and not just celebrities, but normal people. And what does that mean for people like me or people that don't use these drugs? How is capitalism and consumerism going to change because of the onset of these drugs being able to change our appetite? And I want to explore that today. I say that while I'm eating my oats and peanut butter. But yeah, we'll chat about that throughout the day because it intrigues me, because I do think it can help a lot of people. Cheers. What Ozempic is, and we've seen how a lot of celebrities are using it and how it's almost available for the general public. Prices have dropped a little bit, it's still quite expensive. But what I foresee in the future is we're no longer going to have portion sizes where are small, medium, large, extra large. We're going to start having GLP-1 sizes, whereby you'll probably pay the same price or a little bit more, but the portion size will just be smaller. And I think that's the key difference here. And I think that's going to have like this escalating effect on you and me and the rest of the world, or I guess maybe the first world. I don't know how much this would penetrate to the third world yet, but it will. But yeah, I think I want to discuss what happens when consumerism changes because of this thing, and also what's going to happen. How are these markets going to fight back? If people are eating less fast food, well, you don't overspend on food in these big chains, as well as you don't overspend on takeaways. So yeah, I think we should investigate that. I've got some opinions on it. But don't get me wrong, I do think Ozempic is pretty good for some people who are potentially overweight and really are struggling to just lose that first bit. Because I think seeing your body in a different state can be incredibly motivating. And when I say incredibly motivating, I mean when you're quite obese, I assume it's quite difficult to lose just a little bit of weight to see your body change, because you've got a lot to lose. And if some drug can help you lose that weight and you start seeing, oh wow, I look different, better, more healthy, I feel better, maybe that can carry over outside of using Ozempic or these GLP-1 drugs. I'm not sure, but I've got a feeling that I think it can be very helpful to some people. It's just the dependency on it that becomes iffy for a lot of people when they critique it, because it's like you are dependent on it. And to a certain degree you are, because as soon as you stop taking it, your appetite comes back and you continue your habits. But maybe, just maybe for some, it can spark some sort of change. I'm not the only one in my office cubicle that is here. I think there's another 7 office cubicles, and there's no one. Why am I the only one here? This is crazy. I've been having 2 coffees a day recently, and I don't like the habit. I'm really craving a coffee now, and I usually have my coffee at 10, and it's just before 9. So it's been a few hours. Okay, it's been about an hour. Done the admin things of my day, but I wanted to go back to the GLP-1 discussion on the portion sizes and how these food markets are going to change. And I think with clever branding, they're going to do a good job in terms of selling these things. Now, there's a big side of things, don't waste. So yes, it's good we're not wasting. But what happens when the prices now rise? Because they're like, well, we still want to charge people just as much for less food because we don't want to lose money. So, oh, someone else is here. That's crazy. Did you see that? Someone walked here. So what they're going to do is they're going to market it like in the 90s, where they did that whole low fat movement, where it became an important thing, low fat, all this stuff on these items, and you think you buy them and they're healthier, all this kind of stuff. They're going to do the same here. It's going to be GLP-1 portions, less is more, branded as this healthier lifestyle. And they're going to start charging us normal people a little bit more, because a normal portion size is to follow the scale of things. So yeah, it might sell the brand of healthy and proud and I'm not overeating, whatever, with these. But that has a cascading effect on normal food portions, I guess.
Okay, so we were talking about how Ozempic will suppress a lot of people's appetites. And we were talking about how the companies are going to react with this. Now, we already know that certain chemicals that they put in our food, MSG, or the perfect balance of sugar and salt, make like processed food like chips and chocolate and these yummy food so much more appetizing. We tend to like constantly want to eat them. We can't stop ourselves, and it's not necessarily our fault. And I take a perfect example of eating one apple versus eating one chocolate. It's so much easier to be like, oh, I don't want actually another apple after I've eaten this one. But most of the time, you can always have another chocolate. And that's because they're chemically designed like that. We don't feel satiated with them, and then we want more and more and more. Now, what's going to happen if they start coming up with chemicals that counteract this GLP-1 stuff, which effectively might make it more? People want to eat more and more and more. And that's what scares me, because the people that don't eat that food, then they will have these foods which will be overconsumed now, because we can't stop eating them because we have this normal appetite. And that's what scares me with the onset of these GLP-1s. It's helpful in some cases, but then it's really detrimental with the run-on effects for everybody else.
So I've been working for a few hours now, having my snack. It's almost lunchtime. I'm gonna go out for lunch today. Well, not to eat, but I need to go get the keys for my friend who's moving to Delft, and he's not here yet, so I'm gonna get the keys to his place for him. So yeah, but it's been a day of just reading, basically. I haven't done any coding, no whatever, but more trying to gather ideas or trying to figure out what to do with the results I've got. So yeah, pretty good though. Probably will leave a little bit earlier today. Yeah, but we'll see. We're home, we changed our shirt off, but I gotta say, and I don't think this is spoken enough about, is that obviously we talk about taking our bra off and it feels nice and all this kind of stuff. It is, I'm not undermining that, but this, taking this off, also nice McDonald's socks, Bianca, this feeling of taking off your socks and walking barefoot, oh my gosh. Also, you're welcome. I need to put this away, but I need to make some food because I'm very hungry. And then the weekend starts officially because I took tomorrow off. So, yay, exciting! So dinner is a bowl. It's like a salad bowl. It's got cucumber because I need to use that up. Some feta, some chicken, some peppers, and my avos. It was a bit hard, but it did its job. Now I'm going to enjoy this. It looks really good. Okay, it is Thursday evening, but it kind of feels like Friday evening because it's a bit late now. It's like 10:43. I had to do quite a bit of editing actually. It took way longer than I expect these things to take, but it's fine. I'll change some things up a little bit. But tonight's thought experiment is called the levers. Imagine a room full of people, each standing in front of a lever. Every time they pull it, they get something they want. Food, attention, pleasure. For years, everyone pulls their levers constantly. It's noisy, messy, but it's normal. Then slowly, a few people lose interest. Their levers still work. They just don't care to pull them anymore. The room gets quieter. Those who still reach for their levers start to feel it. Not judgment, but contrast. They still need, and others just don't. And needing becomes something they try to hide. Not because the levers are bad, but because the silence has become this new status. I'll check you tomorrow.